Welcome to the channel. I'm Rogers the Urban Legend, and here is Incoherent Ramblings of a Gamer. Now, most of these videos are going to be unscripted. They're just going to be me delving into whatever topic that I put down there below. This one happens to be the test realm, the patch test notes for the upcoming patch for Overwatch. Now, Overwatch is getting quite a few changes, some that may impact and some that will impact competitive gaming, uh, all the way from me and you to the upper echelons of the competitive world. So let's delve in, see what we got, and talk a little bit about it. So first off, we have our new hero. She has the biotic rifle, which heals or damages anybody she hits. So basically, if she hits a friendly, it heals them. Heals them over time. I'm gonna see here if it says. Doesn't really say, but the healing isn't really instant. At least what I noticed when I was playing on the PTR. Same with the damage. It's kind of like a really short dot. Probably 2 seconds at most. Um, yeah, it's. I don't know why it doesn't say it here. Maybe I'm seeing something wrong, but that is what I got from playing on the PTR. She also has her biotic grenade, which does a healing uh, boost. So not only does it heal when it hits, it also boosts the healing on that target for a certain amount of time. Here again, it doesn't even say. It just says a few moments. But yeah, it's basically a buff, temporary buff that you give anybody that gets hit by it. Now you can hit your entire team with it. Hell, you can hit all 12 people in a game with it. It will stop healing on enemy uh, players, and it'll increase healing on the friendlies. It's good for team battles. I've seen it used quite often in that regard, as well as uh, it increases her personal healing by shooting people. I think she combos fairly well with Lucio, because Lucio with his use ability for his healing and her hitting people with her grenade, it's quite powerful. It's really potent. So expect to see that. I will I will call it now. If Anna becomes uh, popular for competitive gameplay, you'll see her comboed with somebody like Lucio. Uh, Maybe even Zenyatta. We'll get to that later. She has her Nano Boost, which is her ultimate. It basically uh, buffs a teammate, gives them faster movement, increased damage, and resistance to enemy attacks. Just reduces their damage taken. That is a very, very powerful ultimate. And again, that will be one of the main reasons she gets played in the first place. She's a backline supporter. She's supposed to be as far back as possible because she is a sniper. Um, and your main goal will be to get that get that nano boost as quick as possible, and then just put it on anyone. It's great for DPSers, especially if they're about to ult, but it doesn't even need to be that. It's kind of similar to Mercy, just flying around with Pharah all day long and boosting her. It's kind of the same effect, only you don't have to be near her to do it. You just target her, hit that Q button, and you hit her with it. And it's similar to the orbs by Zenyatta, so you don't have to actually like be accurate when it comes to using her ult. You just have to be in the vicinity direction of the person, just around that area, and it'll pop up with the Q button, and you can hit it, or whatever the button is on consoles. I'm not sure what the button is. Um, excuse me. Uh, yeah, it's going to be a pretty popular character, at least for a little while. I don't know how long she'll last. We'll see. She's easy to counter, and she's easy to kill. Very easy to kill. She has very limited movement. She's no different than most characters when it comes to movement. Um, So you're not going to see her like suddenly run off. She doesn't have like grappling hooks or anything like that. All right. Next up, we have the general updates. We have gameplay. This is one of the biggest changes coming in the patch, and the most impactful to both the metagaming that goes on in competitive, uh, and just the overall uh, importance it is to have people individually good with characters instead of just saying, hey, two people go Zarya, and then we'll just shield everybody, and it'll get really, really boring for the other team, and we'll just be cancerous. I have no problems with Zarya. Players now respawn slowly, more slowly, during overtime. So that'll start to slow down the whole. Somebody grabs a tracer and tries to get back to the point really quick, and then just blinks back and forth just to keep the overtime timer going. It's very difficult for anybody to handle her, no matter how skilled you are. Usually, and we'll definitely take a detour here, but usually the teams are fairly balanced. There's been times I've played recently where I was in a team where I was watching a buddy of mine who's actually in the upper 60s, and he was getting into groups with 67, 68s like himself, up to like 72. But then he had a couple of games where he had like 55s all the way up to 74, and it was like, I don't know what happened there. I think one of the problems is that it doesn't matter your ranks when you group with somebody. It seems to weigh heavier on the higher leveled player in your group. So I think there's some more tweaking that needs to be done with the group composite or the way uh, group rankings work. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of work they still need to do for competitive play. But the biggest one is this right here. One hero per team. No more stacking. No more double soldier. No more double Zarya, which I see that sometimes. No more double anything that almost pigeonholes and even causes metagaming to even be more narrow-minded. Uh, you no longer have to work with that same limitation. You can actually broaden that a little bit. It's still going to come down to a handful of the same group comps, but this will increase the variance a bit. So I think that's one of the biggest and most positive changes coming to competitive play. I'm glad they're only doing it for competitive, so you can still goof around and have fun and casual, and you don't have to have these kind of weird limitations. So I think that's a definite plus. Let's see here. Some of the miscellaneous stuff, nothing really important here. We got Anna being added to the AI controlled stuff. So some healing balances. Self-healing abilities now charge ultimate abilities. As a result, some heroes' ultimate costs have been adjusted. Of course, Bastion, Lucio. Uh, tank, his configuration tank has been increased for Bastion, so it takes a little bit longer for him to get his ultimate. We're going to skip Diva because you can see she got a big bunch of changes. Ultimate for Lucio, same deal. You got your Peacekeeper. They're trying to tweak McCree a little bit more. I think the last patch that we got that nerfed his damage when he was fanning the hammer, which was a good change because he was taking on groups of people, more people than he should have, and sometimes too fast because of the way his mechanics work, and it was too quick even for the better players to react to before they were killed, and it was like I didn't even have a chance. So I think they're still trying to tweak him because that that was a huge swing with McCree. I don't see him nearly as often. I'm not sure what you guys think. Go ahead and post in the comments below if you play more competitive than I do. I don't play too often. Um, but McCree's nerf uh, probably halved or even more his playability. So we don't see him near as much. Now they're going to tweak him a little more. So now he does more damage from a longer distance. Back in the back in the beta, he actually could outsnipe people because his peacekeeper did max damage from across the map, and if he was able to pinpoint where like somebody like Widowmaker was, he could react faster than her sometimes, especially because if she takes a shot and misses, she has that couple seconds to recharge, or 2 seconds I think it is to recharge, which he didn't need to recharge, so he could out sniper. So that's good. Um, Mercy got a few changes. Her staff damage boost has been increased, which, I mean, I see what they're doing. It no longer stacks with another Mercy, but see, that only affects, with this patch, that only affects uh, casual, or, like the Brawl. But it doesn't affect competitive whatsoever because you can't have two Mercies anymore. Uh, so that actually could offset it in case that was a big deal between the two. So now uh, she increases damage 20% higher. Her Resurrect, her ultimate cost was increased by 30%. However, they kind of tweaked a little bit of her movement abilities. She is no longer prevented from moving while she's doing her ult, so no more jump out. Uh, she throws her hand up, she's sitting there rezzing, and she's just completely out in the open and easy to pick off. She can actually kind of move around again, without getting killed, or to try to alleviate that. Guardian Angel now resets upon use, so she can bounce more often between bodies. So that's cool. I see that. That's good positive changes. I think she's a strong character, but she's not overpowered in any way, and I don't think this is gonna push her too close to that either. I think she's still in a good spot. Roadhog ultimate cost increased by 45%. Obviously, like they said at the beginning of the patch notes, anybody that can self heal gets their ultimate faster. He does a lot of self healing. I mean, if you don't have uh, uh, good healers on your team, you can damn near out heal your own healers. So I can see why they did this. On top of that, I think there's some balancing as well for other things. His ultimate, with coupled with Anna's ultimate, is devastating. It's more devastating than a lot of the other ones because he's got decent range. He's knocking people back. It's disruptive to other players, and it does a lot of damage already. So I think that's one of the another component of why they increased it so much, because they increased it quite a lot for him. Soldier 76 ultimate increased again, self healing. That's why they did that. Another thing I'm kind of interested. If you watch a lot of the pro gaming scene for this game, you'll see the most ridiculous Soldier 76s out there. People that are just very accurate. And the fact that he had very limited recoil and his spread was quite slow, you could do a lot of burst and tapping. Um, you can't do that as effectively anymore. So I think that's what they're trying to get away from. He's overly accurate. I still don't think he's overpowered. I don't think really anybody's too overpowered in the game right now. But they are bringing him down a little bit, which is fine. Zenyatta, huge changes here. Zenyatta's big change, base shield from 50 to now, it was increased by 50, so now he has 50 health and 150 shield, so he's up to 200 health. I believe he was at 150 before. He was very easy to pick off, and now he's a little bit tougher, a little more resilient. His Orb of Discord and Orb of Harmony no longer has that floaty animation. It's a lot quicker. It's 4 times as fast as it used to be. So I think that's kind of a cool little change. I like the fact this is something I was suggesting in my own gaming circles, that he needs a little more movement, and the fact that he now has a movement increase when he does his ultimate, I think that's great because of way the nature of his ultimate, he needs to be able to move around a lot faster. It allows him to be a little more proactive when you have um, certain things happening. Like a great example is Roadhog can snag somebody out of the orb, um, out of transcendence. I mean, and now he can actually get to him and help that and lower the damage and possibly save people that way. I think that's a great idea. I'm glad that they're giving him this movement increase, and also on top of that, his healing amount is increased to by 100. Up to 300 healing now. I think that's incredible. I'm very happy to see that. Um, so we'll go back real quick to Diva. Diva got a lot of changes. Her defense matrix is no longer a cooldown. It's been its cooldown has been decreased from 10 seconds to 1 second, which that is a huge change. Um, Her resource meter has been added, basically to complement the reduction in cooldown. They've made it more of a charge ability, so that at full charge it'll last for 4 seconds, as it says here, and it takes about 10 seconds to go to reach full charge from empty. I think what they're trying to do is get rid of the whole uh, timing when it comes to defense matrix. They want it to be closer to what I would say is Reinhardt's shield. He can put it up any time, and the only limitation is how much damage it can take before it breaks, and that he can put it away to recharge it. I think that's exactly how the defense matrix is turning into. I think it's great, although I do believe, in my own personal opinion, that defense matrix is more powerful than Reinhardt's shield in a lot of ways. Um, Post in the comments again if you have any counter arguments to this. However, the ability to absorb almost any projectile in the game versus just frontal damage reduction, I think there's a bit of a swing of equality there. I think the shield is very important, but I think when you take these two abilities and put those together and compare them, defense matrix I believe would come out on top. You can absorb grenades and some of the ultimates in the game. They just go and they disappear, whereas he can like block it for a little while and then it's gone. And then what are you gonna do? You can't do anything after that. He's got to wait for it to recharge. Her defense matrix, I feel that this is one of those big changes that they're doing in the game to try to make Diva a more viable character. You don't see her in certain levels of play. Um, I don't know how long some of this stuff will last. I think there's still some more tweaking. I personally believe that this change might be a little too powerful, but we'll see. We'll see. Her self-destruct has been decreased by 15%. I always felt that her ultimate was overly costed for a low payoff. Yeah, you see plenty of the Reddit posts and the gifs on different websites and stuff like that, where she sneaks around and throws her mech suit into a group, and it just so happens to take people out. But very rarely does that happen because the timing. Just you have to be on point with the timing. If you're throwing it, sure, but if she gets pulled in, one of her knee-jerk reactions is always, hey, if her Q's up, hit that Q and try to get away. Now, they've reduced that time by a second. That's a big deal. On top of the fact that she no longer will take damage from her own mech exploding. That's a kind of an interesting change. I think it's kind of funny that they did that. Um, but then again, it also means that she can be a little more proactive when she jumps out of her mech. Before, she did her thing, and if she was in a team fight, she has to run away because most characters will melt her really quickly. Now she can stick around and try to lure them, or maybe come around to the side and flank them in some way, shape, or form. Do something to interrupt their thought process of, hey, there's a giant bomb here. We need to get out of here. Wait a minute, she's shooting us. What? And then people are moving around. It can be confusing, and it can actually be quite important for her repertoire. So I'm actually quite uh, interested to see where Diva goes from here. Um, so we've covered all the character updates. We've covered Anna being, or Anna. I don't know the pronunciation. Um, Overall, I think there's a lot of great changes here. Some of them, of course, piggyback off of each other of why they're being changed. Some of them, like Zenyatta's changes and Diva's changes, are substantial, and we're gonna have to just wait and see. I think one of the biggest drawbacks to a lot of games when it comes to balancing issues is doing too much at the same time. If you do all these changes at once, sometimes some of the changes can counteract other changes, so you may not get the desired result. Um, I'm not saying they need to just, you know, trickle out these patches one at a time, but just know that some of this stuff could end up being broken, and they may have to do changes down the line. Right now, I don't see anything glaring, um, so to speak. So yeah, I think this might bring me back to playing a little more of the competitive side more often. I mean, I hit 61, I believe, so not very high, but you know, I enjoy it. I just want to be brought back and enjoy it a little more. No more 75 Zaryas. I don't hate Zarya. So, again, thank you for stopping by, checking out the patch notes, and hanging out with me. I'm going to do more of these Incoherent Gamer videos. However, this one was kind of on point. I kind of kept in the realm of what I wanted to do here with the patch notes, but sometimes you're gonna see me go way off the rails, and I look forward to it. Next time we talk, it may even be about competitive, and I'm gonna wait for this patch to hit before I do that, so I don't step over my own toes. So thanks for joining me. If you liked the video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hang out with me. I stream pretty much 2 to 3 times a week. You can come hang out with me there, and I hope to see you.
Oh my god, I'm dead?